night matches fire in the air. Frag grenades flying, chaos everywhere. Dodcast with the recaps here. Who's the champ this week? It's all unclear. Gold division tighter than a noose. Every round a gamble, no room for truce. Dodcast, the spotlight shines fast. Chase kills the kings, but the race won't last. Dodcast, legends in the broadcast. Knock out the goat, no one else can amass. Mouse wheel bound to crouch, can we agree?
Oh, big yawn there, big yawn.
What's the referee's decree? MG nest and the rockets blast. Tactics on fire, the moments flash fast. Victory close, but who'll take the crown? Gold is a jungle, no one's backing down. Dodcast, the spotlight shines best. Kiss kills the kings, but the race won't last. Dodcast, legends in the broadcast. Knock out the goat, no one else can amass.
It's Corey, Jag, and Marco, and it's another episode of the Dodcast.
Yo, what is up, everyone? It's the Jaginator, Corey Marco. It's the second last episode of the Dodcast, Season 9. I guess it'd be episode 13. Recap the semis, and then predict the finals. Man, it's crazy that Season 9 is already done, to be honest, at this point. First things first, before I forget, because I forget every time, to do at least one thing that I meant to do. I meant, like 4 episodes ago, to let everyone know that Stealth is available to make a movie again. So if anybody out there needs some shit done, hit up Kevin, because he finished like the 34 movies that he was working on at the same time. I don't know how people do it. I can barely work on one movie at a time. Don't even get me started when I'm doing 2. And then also, I've got updated crosshair work here. Casey did send me a full log of the changes. What do we got here? So, you got the 1 pixel thickness support, which is hella good for me because I use small dot crosshairs. That's like, I mean, really all I need is that 1 pixel support. But now that means any crosshair that you want to make. And I'll tell you this, the way that I make them, like the old way before this was out, everything I did was basically in 1 pixel formatting. So like a small dot would be 1 pixel, and then the arms would be 1 pixel of thickness going across. So these crosshairs will look significantly more like tiny, you know? Like basically old crosshair packs, if you use smaller crosshairs or even crosshairs that just looked thinner, it was because they were all 1 pixel thickness. So if these crosshairs from here didn't maybe look like you thought they would, it probably was just that. To be honest. Create angled X-style crosshairs. Wait, what else we got here? X-style crosshair. Rotate existing plus style crosshair. That's interesting. Hollow circle crosshair support. Create hollow circles with or without a center dot. Thin crosshair rendering improved. Improved visibility with the outlined crosshairs. Symmetry and arm alignment for 1 pixel styles. Cleaner preview accuracy. And support for exporting all those different crosshairs. So it's not just like you can make them and then they don't come out right. Let me see here. Dot only. Oh yeah, there it is. Yep. Dot size 1 pixel is odd, so the dot sits 1 pixel off. Does that explain uncentered crosshairs? I think that might explain the uncentered crosshair right there, just from a baseline. This is intentional. Interesting. I mean, I don't know, but just looking at this, that makes me think that that explains why all the crosshairs everybody ever made, generally speaking, for years had been slightly off-center. But don't even get me started on this. Never mind. Don't get me started on this, because you know what? The default crosshair in DoD is off-centered. I don't even think DoD, the way the game was made, is even meant for you to have a centered crosshair, to be fair. So, like, I don't know that what I'm saying matters at all. But also, this was added here, too. So, I mean, this is obviously... Casey's working his balls off on this, so always the option to help support him on this project as well. He's got both Venmo and PayPal there. I know a lot of non-Americans don't have Venmo, so PayPal's there as an option too. But yeah, he's been going all in on this, so always something that is there. And did I forget anything else? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think we're good. I'm sure I'm going to realize like 3/4 of the way through this episode that we weren't good, but hey, it's all good. We'll remember that for the next time, or maybe it'll take 5 more episodes until then. I want to watch a DoD movie before this. I don't know what. I mean, like, I could put on a playoffs. It's just it's the same playoffs frag of the week every time, you know? Like, it's great. I love that frag of the week, but it feels boring that every time it's this time of the season, I'm like, hey, let's watch something. Oh, here it is. It's the playoffs frag of the week that we watch every goddamn time. I don't even think that there was another, like, playoff finals, anything frag of the week ever in the history of frag of the weeks. Fuck it. We'll just watch this one. I feel like I haven't watched this frag of the week in ages, even though it's some of my favorite work that I personally ever did. This is what I used to have to do with frag of the weeks, though, because people were so reluctant to ever submit their precious movie clips. Oh no, what happens if someone sees my movie clip once before it goes into my movie? That's gonna ruin it. So I had to like just sit there and bother people. This started as a 1-week frag of the week and ended up being 4 weeks. It says triple, but it was actually 4. Anzio, Lennon, Donner, and Shamil. Digga, digga, digga. It's a great song, too. I kind of wasted it on this frag of the week. I should have probably used this in, like, my own movie. To be fair, though, I killed this frag of the week. Cheebs. There's no dot on my screen. That's definitely Kevin. Alex was in there too. I'm not stay. Later, Matt. Later, dog. Pretty sure that's Heisey as well. And that was Gurr. Why not say yeah? Oh, that was James too. Majel. Nicholas. That was Jackson. No, 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 no. And Ace. Digga, digga, digga. Digga, digga, digga. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Beast. Lurf. Birth of a song, death of a dream. Oh, that was Sean as well. Chris. Did it. Ticka, ticka, ticka. Okay, that is Steve, yeah. Yagoon. Ringing as Andrew. Later, Pat. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. Ba-na-na-na. Oh, later, you Jagon. Really forced that one in there. Do 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 do. I'm sorry. Ford and Genton tried to tell me he had no clips in this demo, but I found some. Jordan. Him and Vasily both were like, I didn't get any clips. So I was like, just give me your demos. I'll find something. Now this time, Shreddies, I never hit this wall shot ever anymore. I don't understand why. This clip is almost like one of the most insane clips ever, but instead it's just like a good clip. If that shot had hit, actually no, it's if this shot had hit. It's really close to hitting. Hacking. Oh, but hacking more. There's Vasily. I mean, I guess compared to the usual Vasily clips, he didn't have any. Go! Look at how many times I shot that wall there. Hilarious. Sometimes, you know, it's about quantity over quality. Back when I did some keying, then I got tired of how much effort there involved on that. Not enough bang for the buck. Later. Unpro. You need a light. Heart is true. What a great two clips to have there. They both kill each other in them too. Whoa, okay. We don't kill Yagoon like that. Slick Nick getting a hat trick. Later. With you. Pretty sure both Ryan and Tox were ringing for WR here. In, like, main. Oh, no, this would have been in upper, I think. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on any of it. Here we go. Hat trick Nick again. Later. The golden gun. Yep. Dun, 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 dun. This shot. Oh, later, Brino. Austin. Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam. So tell me. One more time. Nope, never mind. Watch your back. The man who didn't counter-strike. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ben Zobrist is Jared in that clip. What a set of ringers to get. Chris! He popped up in his stream not long ago. I mean, as I did ask like 10 people before I made that the clip of the week, by the way. I mean, it's pretty clearly the clip of the week, but it felt weird making myself the clip of the week. I didn't set out to do that. Anzio was like the last match that got played, and then I just happened to get the fucking craziest Stas clip you'll ever see on Plaza, so I just went with it. I sent it to so many people to be like, is this the clip of the week? I'm just making sure. I don't want to be a little bitch. All right. So I think I'm going to do this like I did it last week, where I'm going to do all the bronze stuff, all the silver stuff, all the gold stuff in a row. I don't know that I'll keep doing this as a format permanently, but certainly for now I'm going to do it. So let's get it started with Best Buds versus Uncle Rico's Time Machine. I casted this one yesterday. I don't know, man. It's been a blur for me. For the last week, basically, after all the games Sunday night. What's going on in here? Oh, that's a good point. I had not even seen that before. Okay. So, map 1, Saints. This was Best Buds pick. Best Buds ended up winning 306 to 114. Uncle Rico's, here's the thing, right? Both these games look like blowouts, but they really weren't. Uncle Rico's played really well. It was very close for the majority of the game. It's just Best Buds eventually broke through and just went fucking crazy on him. So, first half, you can see there, plus 23 was the score differential for the Axis side for Best Buds. 107 to 84. Kills were very close. Head Like a Hole was... If Uncle Rico's won this series, he was the clear MVP. I think he tied for the top frag overall, and he did it with like a almost 2-to-1 KD ratio. Nick was outstanding. 41 and 15 there. G, number one, Minu at 24. Craig with 23. We saw him. He's cursed, I think, man. I mean, it's one thing like shooting through everybody. Craig was just straight up shooting guys for not the right amount of damage over and over again. Like car shots for 60. There's one point where he had to hit a guy 3 times with the Garand because the first bullet did 8 damage. Not hit. We checked. It was like didn't look like it clipped a wall. It's very confusing. He's very cursed. But him and E-Man had 23 apiece, and then 21 for Kevin. And on the Best Bud side, the story, of course, again here, Monty. Monty had 36. He's the guy who actually top fragged the series and got the MVP. You had 29 on Hopper, 28 on Bobby, 24 on Big Bird, 21 on Laura, and then 19 for Piff. Piff had a slow start, but let me tell you, he finished strong. As you can see right there, 41 kills in the next half to top frag. And then who was next? Bobby at 31. Him and Monty are just movie clip machines on Saints, man. I'm telling you, the both of them could pretty much make a movie of every time they played Saints individually. It's so crazy. And then 29 for Monty, 28 for Hopper, 26 for Laura, 18 for Nando, and on the Uncle Rico's side, 38 for Kevin Purdy. Again, he's been so fun to watch this season. You can really see like the 2000s Purdy. He's hit that prime again. It's nuts to watch. He's just crazy third rifle. I would love to see Kevin playing in gold. I feel like he could still play in gold right now. He looks like he's got all the mechanical stuff back down, and it's just a matter of like, how things go in the game. It's not like he's still getting used to playing DOD again or anything. as a guy who obviously played in Invite like his entire DoD career before this. So, but yeah, 38 and 30 for him. Anastasi was just all over the map. 32 and 20 for Head Like a Hole. 26 for Craig on the car. He just kept peeking the end of bridge and getting 3 kills. It's crazy. But then he'd go to shoot the 4th guy and do like 16 car damage. Normal. 21 for E-Man. 20 for Zamp. Oh, I didn't say Zamp in the first half. He had 18. Why do I feel... Did I not say... I feel like I didn't say the name Zamp for the first half. But maybe I did. I remember saying 18, but I don't remember saying it was Zamp. Maybe I read it as E-Man. I don't know. I'm confused now. And then 18 for G. So this map, it reads as about a 200-point win, but to be fair, it felt more like a cap and a half game. Best Buds did cap, I think, 2 or 3 times in the last, 4 minutes of the second half. It just kind of got out of control at that point. But up to that, it was back and forth, bridge cap getting traded back and forth. It was a very fun game. And then map 2 was Rail Yard. This was Uncle Rico's pick. And you can see there in the first half, plus 13. Again, very close. Best Buds capped early, and then Uncle Rico's capped later and was pressing them a lot and almost got another cap. If things turn around in the other direction there a little bit, maybe it's a totally different game. Maybe they end up winning that one instead. It would have been 100-something to 40-something. Things look very different. You can see they outfragged them by 16. 34, though, for Monty. Again, just fucking insane. 28 for Laura. She was all over the place in these. She had a lot of kills with heavies. She just kept picking up bars and STGs and getting kills with them. She had multiple STG clips for sure. Piff with 26. 21 for Big Bird. 16 for Hopper. 15 for the Brombaum, who got in there. The Newfie Brad Marchand. You weren't there for this conversation. We were watching him doing the things that he's doing this season on the lights, the 3rd rifle, but technically he's using the Unter Tommy at all times. And the analogy that I and then Darren at basically the same exact time came up with was that if you like hockey, you'll understand this. If you don't, you will be very confused. He is the DoD's Brad Marchand, where it's a guy who you love to have him on your team, man. Oh, it's so helpful. But if you're playing against him, oh my God, it's fucking torturous. You hate him. That is Bromley this season. Really, really flashing us back to the early to mid 2000s when players were using the Tommy gun and the Unter instead of the Garand Stas all the time, and we're doing what Adam's been doing. If you don't know what we're talking about, just go watch any Best Buds cast that he was playing in, and you will see. On the Uncle Rico side, though, again, Head Like a Hole, 30 and 19. Kevin at 29. Nick at 28. 26 for Craig. 22 for G. And 21 for Zamp. But then, again, here, the second half just went very pear-shaped in the end for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. Best Buds win this one. I mean, that's not the half score. The half score would be 8 to 82, 151 to 8. So what do you got on the Best Bud side? 39 for Monty, almost dropping a 40 burger. 36 for Piff. 32 for Hopper. 29 for the Brombaum there. Brad Marchand. I thought at one point, I think there was 4 minutes left, and they basically, it looked like they were going to end up with all 6 players having 30. Adam ended up coming up 1 kill short. Big Bird ended up coming 4 kills short, and Laura ended up coming up 6 kills short. But it really looked like they were going to end up with all 6 players having 30, which is one of those things you just really don't see that often. You might be thinking, well, that's only 180 kills. Well, yeah, but some of them also have 40. We just saw Overdo this. Was it the last game or 2 games ago? I forget, but they had just 6 players breaking 30 in one half is very rare. In evenly, I always got to qualify this. We're not talking about those games where it's I played against this pub team and I had 102 kills on my allied side. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But we're talking about, this is a playoff game, Just very rare to see in matchups that are semi-even. But yeah, Best Buds almost pulled it off there. Uncle Rico's side had like a whole, again, all 4 halves, he had 30 plus kills. Just a great series for him. Here he was 35, 26 for E-Man, 20 for both Zamp and Craig, 19 for Kevin, 11 for G. Poor Kevin, every time he went up 4-way, Brad Marchand was just crouched in ticket, waiting to pop his head off at an insane angle. And on top of that, Kevin had a star, so even if he hit the shot, odds are it was not going to be a full 100 damage. But yeah, Best Buds sweep it 2-0. The perfect season remains intact heading into the finals. And who will they play in the finals? Let's scroll. There it is. It will be 9-5, who win their series 2-1. I kept saying, like, oh, we never get 3-map series. We never get 3-map series. Well, we got 3 of them in the semifinals, which is a good sign. You know that, like, the divisions are at least semi-competitive if you're getting in the semifinals 3-map best of 3s. You definitely don't feel as good about it if every single game all the way up to the finals is a 2-0 sweep. Then it's like, ooh, maybe we fucked up somewhere. All right. So map 1 was Thunder. I believe this would have been 9-5's pick. Map 2 was Armory. That would have been... Wait, that seems like the reverse. I might not be, but it feels like the reverse to me. Where are we? No, that's too far forward. Yeah, 9-5 pick Thunder. Plays for fun pick Armory. And then 9-5 gets to ban Anzio. It just feels like it's not... Like it was the reverse because 9-5, good Armory team. All players who historically have been great on Armory. Interesting. Okay, so this was 9-5's map pick first, and Plays for Fun stole it. They stole the shit out of this one. Corey Price was lagging like crazy during this series. He was all over the place with his ping. First half here. Plays for Fun got a very, very late cap out at the end of that first half to really put a stamp on a great start on the Allied side. So they end up winning it 120-18. Evans was 27-15. Joey was 27-14. Manga was 26-22. Anna's 25-21. Lucky's 25-12. Pijisku 18-18. And then on the 9-5 side, 27-24 for Nachito. 19 for both Soya and for Hypnotic, 15 for 9, 12 for Rook, and then Corey Price, I mean, he lagged out a million times. No clue how many kills he ended up with. But in the end, the second half score ends up being, 49 to basically 100. 97 to 49, I think, in favor of 9-5 in this case, which means that last cap out was actually very important. As you can see, that would have made it 129 to 115. It's a whole different ball game than holding mid for 3 minutes is enough to win the game then. So in this half, again, I think that there is lag outs here for Corey Price, at least one of them. But Plays for Fun does outfrag them by 22 technically. Even when you look at the deaths, I think Corey maybe didn't lag out fully in this one. He might have lagged out but not disconnected from the server. So Evans again with 27, Lucky again with 27, Manga with 28, 23 for Pijisku, 21 for Joey, 18 for Anna. And then on 9-5 side, Soya was insane. He had 38 and 24. Of course, it's Soya. He's insane. 21 for Nacho, 20 and 19 for Hip, 18 for Tony, 17 for Corey, 8 for Cam. Most importantly, though, Plays for Fun stealing map 1, putting themselves into a great position to potentially go pull off the upset here. Then map 2 comes up. It's their pick. 9-5, though, take it by about 118. That's the second half screenshot. Gotta be. Yes. Oh, what? Yeah. Okay, just leave him out there. Yeah. All right. So, yep. 184 to 41. What happened in this game? I'm trying to think. Nacho, Soya was insane. Pijisku wasn't okay. Yeah, this Pijisku was nuts in this game. Pijisku was fucking nuts, and Soya was obviously nuts as well. I feel like 9-5 just kind of brute force capped like twice, and I think maybe even got one ninja cap on top of that. I believe that Plays for Fun was doing something a little unique on this Axis side as well, where both Anna and Manga were going bridge with the cars, and Joey was actually going warehouse with the Stas. And it worked for Joey. It's just sometimes on Axis side bridge, man, there can be any number of things that make it impossible to really get going. Whether it's a sniper like Soya, just, making a life a living hell for you, or you're getting naded to piss. Trust me, as somebody who's now had to go bridge almost exclusively on this map, there's one season where I got to go the warehouse side, really, and that was TMC season, and that was a fun time to play Armory, and every other time I've played Armory, not fun, because that's like 98% me going bridge. So Soya with 36, Nacho with 31, both Hip and Corey with 28, Tony with 20, Caleb with 18. So they swapped Caleb in for Rook here, I think, for both the last two maps. And I mean, obviously, we know how Caleb makes Armory. Like, he's going to swim around. He's going to pop up on the ladder. He's going to ninja cap. He's going to do a lot of things that are very, very helpful to make the most out of this map. Pijisku, 37 and 24. Joey, 30 with the Stas, going the warehouse side. Evans with 28. Anna with 24, Lucky with 20, Manga with 19, but 140-point difference. So, obviously, Allied side, the favored side on this map. I think 140 points is like, it's right on the edge of being, like, too much. Not too much, obviously, but, like, one of those things where you end that half and feel like, oh, man, we really needed to lose by a little less. Then you take a look. So they did actually, ironically, it was just a little too much. They ended up getting 128 points on their Allied side. So basically like a cap less than 9-5 did. But 9-5 also tacked on another 100 points here with the cap out. So even it's not like they scored 0 points in that. If there only had been 20 less points, they would have, Plays for Fun would have won the game. It's just, for comparison's sake, how many points they get on the Allied side each. So you can see Plays for Fun did actually outfrag them here. This half was a lot more back and forth. It's just when 9-5 made it count, they really made it count and put the game a little bit more out of reach. It ends up being a 3 cap difference, basically, in the end. So, again, Soya, 38 kills, insane. On a map like Armor, if you got a sniper who's putting up numbers like that, it's going to be very unlikely that the other team is winning the game. Unless if your sniper is doing that and the other team sniper is doing that, then okay. Now anything can happen, but if it's just like, oh, well, this sniper put up a 40 bomb on us on bridge, your odds are not great that you ever had bridge for all that long. That's a lot of kills. Nacho with 31 as well. That certainly doesn't help your case. Caleb at 26, 25 for Corey, and 19 apiece for both Hip and Tony. And then on Plays for Fun side, Manga, 35 and 33, went big there, as did Anna at 29. Evans at 28, Pijisku at 28, 22 for Joey, 19 for Lucky. And 1-1 series. We're going to a third map. The third map is Saints. And not a bad map for either team here. I don't think on paper, it's kind of funny. These scores end up being like almost very near identical, really, like within 15 points of each other. 287, 283, 169, 152. Very, very almost the same score. But yeah, Saints. So I like this map for both teams, but it does end up being a bit more, again, of a blowout in the end than I think it actually looked if you're spectating the game. So first half, again, I think with this map, I don't know, it's definitely Allied-sided, right? But I think the thing that's most Allied side about it is the fact that you can cap so fucking quickly. Like, if the right situation comes up, it's like almost guaranteed that you're going to get a cap out. And that's kind of what happened in this game for 9 to 5 on their Allied side. Was they just got some cap outs that there was no way to defend against them. With the flags being so close to each other, it's just a lot harder to defend. I mean, there's definitely things can go wrong on the Allied side defense as well. Guys can sneak in through the back alley. Like, there's not a lot of space to defend the flags there, but it's way easier to cap on the Allied side. And obviously, there's just a lot less ways to clear shit out than there is when you're on Allied side defending and the Axis are all over your side of the map. Like, oh, they're going to push out of water out into a wide open space. They're going to push into the back alley, which is a big wide open space. They're going to push slab, which is a big wide open space. The only real like area to tuck in and be able to keep control is that back alley with all the boxes. But like, you can just kind of nade that from inside your spawn. Whereas on the Axis side of the map, there's a very real back alley where it's like a bunch of tight corners and a protected house, and you can just jump out onto the first flag. If people aren't paying attention for even like a half a second, boom, it's a cap out. You can get the 2 and stick right back into upper red and lower red, drop back down the water ramp. Like, it's definitely very, very stark difference between defending the last 2 flags from Axis side to Allied side. Anyways, plus 11 kills for Plays for Fun here, but plus 17 points in favor of 9 to 5. They win 80 to 63 in the first half on Axis. Nachito with 36, 28 for both Corey and Hip. Hip had a great game on Saints here. Soya at 24 and 22, Caleb at 23, Tony at 15. And then for Plays for Fun, Pijisku, again, continuing his hot form with 34. Anna also with 34. Evans with 30. Lucky and Coffee, who got into this one here with 24 apiece. No Joey for this map. And then Manga with 19. And then flash forward to the second half. So that would have been, 90, basically, 89 to 200. 200 to 89. So again, it was very back and forth, but in this case, the biggest difference is just how much 9 to 5 cashed in on full caps on their Allied side. That's really the name of the game on this map. Like, you're gonna give up a cap or two at least on your Allied side, or even if it's not in full cap form, like, odds are they're gonna rack up that many points. So on your Allied side, you need to find a way to make the most of your opportunities, and boy, oh boy, 9 to 5 did so, a lot of which came on the back of that 50 bomb by Soya. Jesus. Just crazy. 50 and 23, 50 and a 2-1, 16 flags, like... If there was like an efficiency score or a wins above replacement or whatever... super deep dive analytical stats we could have in DoD, this would probably be one of the craziest looking statistical halves you could possibly see. I don't know if there would be like a bonus or a penalty for being a sniper and like half difficulty per map and shit like that, but going 50 with a 2-1 and the top flagger in the server, like, that would probably be up there. And then it's in the playoffs as well in a third map. The last half of a best of 3 that went all 3 maps, etc., etc. Like, just one of the craziest halves you'll see there. Nacho also had 35, and then Hypnotic with 33. As I said, a great Saints here. Tony with 26. He had a sick 5K with a sniper rifle he picked up, pushing out lower red up to the 2. Corey with 17. Caleb with 22. And then on the Plays for Fun side, Anna with 35, Manga with 27, Evans with 27, Pijisku with 23, Coffee with 22, Lucky with 17. 9 to 5 do prevail in a full 3-game set and clinch their berth to the finals. 1 versus 2 seed we get in the end. Basically, the teams that coming into the season you expected to be the final 2. I think you'll see that's kind of a common theme here. We technically got the 1 versus the 3 in silver, but the seed being 3 instead of 2 there was more just bad luck at the end of the season for that team. I think going into the season and all the way up throughout most of it, most people would have said that they were the 1 and 2 seed as well. All right, now we got the bronze finals to take a peek at here. Where is it? There it is. All right. Let me crack open some stuff. So, best buds, drop Anzio. Okay. I think they just don't like Anzio. I don't think that that's necessarily like a strength or for them or weakness for them or strength or weakness for 9 to 5 in their mind. I think they just would rather not. 9 to 5 bans Saints, which I think that is trying to get rid of a strength of best buds there. Don't let Bobby and Monty pop off on you and win you the game. That's, I think, basically the thought there. 9 to 5 obviously look good on Saints, but it's one of those things you just rather not take that chance. Next up, best buds picking Lennon. That makes a lot of sense to me. You got, Adam doing Brad Marchand things over on Well with that Unter and Tommy gun. You got the heavies in apartments in Pip and Hopper. The 9 to 5 heavies are going to have to be really, really on point to deal with this team on Lennon, or they're going to have an answer to basically dominate both other sides of the map to counteract how good the heavies are going to be in apartments for best buds, because that's just obviously a sick heavy team with Hopper and Piff. It's certainly not impossible to outplay them on Lennon. It's just unlikely. Next up, 9 to 5 goes Harrington, which is not surprising at all. Soya, Corey Price, Nacho, guys who we've seen dominate this map over and over again. It's not a bad pick for best buds either, obviously. They too have players that can just spread out and open this map up, but it makes sense, in my opinion, for 9 to 5 to go that way. And then they ban out Thunder. I think that's more just because they just don't want to play it. I don't think it's like we don't like this map or that the other team does like this map. I think it's just we just don't want to get involved with this. And then Best Buds has the option between Railyard, S09, D's Nuts, or Armory, and we get Armory for the third map in the end. It would have been crazy to see that Railyard go through. Best Buds look really good on it. I think that they could have comfortably allowed Railyard to be the third map based on how they played against Uncle Rico's, but going with Armory, going with the known quality here. They don't want to have that much of an X factor come into play, a map that just nobody really has enough time on. Where is that actually Bromley's name? I thought I saw he changed his name to Brad Marchand earlier, which I was so happy about. So yeah, Lennon, Harrington, Armory. This is like a very standard 3-map series. I would guess that if you go back, not to season 1, because I don't think there was really best of 3s in season 1. If you go back to like season 2 or 3, especially if you only go back to like season 4 or 5, the bulk of best of 3s, you'd probably see that those are the 3 most played, most picked maps for best of 3s. Harrington, Lennon, and Armory. Anzio, I think it's still one of the main maps. It's just, I think with Anzio, it's one of those things where either you are a good, competent team together and you want to play Anzio, or you are maybe a little bit more puggy and don't feel as confident and safe in the constant rotations and, the intricacies of playing competitive DoD as a team on Anzio. Like, I don't think that Anzio would be in the top 3 most picked maps, but I don't think that that's a fucking a verdict on what people feel about Anzio as a community. I think it's more just situational. I would say the same thing about Railroad 2. I think Railroad 2 has fallen into the same category as Anzio. Obviously, we don't even have the option on Railroad 2 this season, but I think if you look back at seasons past and the pick bans, Railroad 2 would probably be right there with Anzio, just behind these other ones, because it's a map that requires so much good communication and teamwork to really be able to feel strong and confident on it. Which I would guess that if you told that to people in like 2005 and 6, they'd be like, nah. It just, as the game and the skill ceiling and the knowledge within the game has continued to progress, that map has really, in my opinion, become like Anzio Part 2, where it's a really good indicator of where your team is at teamwork-wise, and you can't just frag your way through it and have like one guy get 42 kills and like, oh, that was enough to turn the whole map. You know, you got too much crossing of the streams, too much rotating, you know, full teams getting sent out one spawn to try to deal with things and then fan out across the map and retake it, etc., etc. You know, obviously Saints has been very up and down. Thunder, I feel like for the most part, Saints and Thunder have kind of been the maps where it's like we might need to go for an upset play here. Can we make it count? Just holding on to mid on Thunder or bridge on Saints, although on the current Saints, the odds of just holding on to bridge on it are like none. No chance. That bridge now gets traded back and forth so much, which I do think that was the point of this update, was trying to make people pay attention to bridge again, and boy oh boy, we see in any one Saints game at this point, I think more bridge trading than you would get out of a whole week of Saints games on the previous versions, because those versions, everybody was just going broken. And you wouldn't even go for bridge until like two other guys had shifted over from broken bridge after they took the whole other side of the map. So, interesting in that regard. And then obviously Thunder, it's kind of like, it's a bit more of an upset potential map because you got to pull off a ninja cap. The odds of either team just brute forcing a cap are very low. And if you can just have a good game plan and understand how to set up on mid and then actually execute and get mid without giving up too much of a lead, you know, that's where that map can become an advantage for maybe an underdog kind of team. I don't know why I just went on a full side quest about the fucking vetoes, but just looking at the way that this veto turned out got me thinking about the numbers on how often maps are picked and vetoed out and stuff. So, I mean, we actually do have all three pick bans right there. So you can kind of see Anzio banned first in both games there. Anzio gets banned out eventually there. So no Anzio finals. Railyard goes out. This is, again, I think, a situational one. To be honest with you, I think Over, if you told Over that they just can't ban any map, I don't think it would change anything for them. I don't think Over really gives a shit what map they're playing. It's just, they had to ban 1-2 maps, right? So, you know, they banned Railyard because we beat them on earlier in the season, but I don't think they would have cared if they had to play Railyard again. Same with Lennon. Obviously, they like Lennon. It's just, they had to ban another one, right? So I feel like there's a lot of situational stuff that you can't really take into account just looking at pick ban numbers as well. You know, like us banning Anzio, like we just had the option to ban Anzio in the previous best of 3, and we ended up playing it as the third map. And then down here, a Thunder ban right off the bat. Interesting. Revo banning Thunder, I guess, just trying to take that variable out of play immediately. Shift W banning Harrington, that's, I think, situational. I think Shift W would play Harrington against a lot of teams happily. Revo picking Lennon. If you leave Lennon there, of course, Revo's going to pick it. These teams played on it, and it was a close game as well. You know, I think that was just one of those things where Revo would pick one of whichever they preferred out of those 3 maps that ended up left over. Either if Shift W had banned Lennon, they probably would have picked Harrington. And then Shift W picks Armory, makes sense. Bans Anzio. Again, I think that is very situational. I think Shift W would be quite okay playing Anzio in a lot of best of 3s. And then it came down to Railyard and Saints. And yeah, that one is just a total fucking toss-up at that point. I think everyone's played a lot more Saints by now than they have Railyard. So that makes sense too. Given the choice between those 2 maps, I would guess most people have like twice as many hours put up on Saints that they do on Railyard. Now, let's get back to talking about what we're supposed to be talking about. Lennon, what was it? Lennon, Harrington, Armory. So, 9-5 on Harrington. Beat Place for fun. That's a good win for sure. Best Buds beat the Weak Kids by about 1,000 there. Lennon, Best Buds. Oh, yeah, that was a rough game for Uncle Rico's. I remember that one. 9-5 beat Weak Kids. And then Armory. 9-5 beat Weak Kids. And Best Buds beat the Bots. So they all look pretty good on these maps. They didn't play each other on them, I don't think. No. They played Anjou and Saints against each other. So nothing to speak of in regards to head-to-head on any of the maps that came through for the finals here. Lineup-wise, there's some uncertainty on both teams. These teams do kind of seem to deploy lineups based on the maps that they're on. We saw Cam Rook get in there on Thunder last week, but then he was out for the next two maps, and Caleb was in there. It might depend as well on availability in some cases, but for the most part, it's Tony, Corey, Caleb, Soya, Nacho, and then that last spot is kind of up in the air. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would guess it's either Hip or Cam for that last spot. Obviously, we saw Hip in for 2 out of the 3 maps. We saw Cam in for 1 of them. But I think in that case, it actually... Wait, what? I'm confusing myself now. Let me go back and look at the screenshots real quick. Okay, here they had both. Okay, Ron played all 3. They had Cam in for the first one, and then Caleb came in for him in the end. So yeah, same basic principle. I would guess that Caleb played almost all of the games. Maybe 1 game he missed. Let me see. By team. Caleb played 7 out of 8. Yep. So Cadaver played in 5. Tony played in 5 too, but I think that was more of an availability thing. Cam played in 5. Grunt got in 3. Corey was 6 out of 8. Nacho and Soya were guaranteed to be there. Caleb was the next most frequent, then Corey, and then this trio here was 5-5-5. Wait, what? Do I not see Hypnotic anywhere? I guess Hip didn't play at all in the regular season. I know he has a very fucked up work schedule. I think that's the biggest thing with him is work, making it impossible for him to be there. But yeah, it's like, Soya, Nacho, Corey, Caleb, Tony, and then probably Cam. That would be my main assumption on the lineup there. With there being, obviously, I already had this open. Whoops. And then for Best Buds, now for them, it's like on Saints, they for sure have Bobby play, which makes sense. Source Rifles and Saints, name a more iconic duo. But Hopper been in for, I think, every map. Big Bird as well. Piff as well. Laura as well. Monty as well. And then I think at that point it's kind of like Bromley or Bobby, depending on what the map is. Do they want Brad Marchand or do they want Connor McDavid? Those are the questions based on the situation. Not a very good analogy because I think if it was in hockey, you would never be like, sorry, Connor, you're sitting for Brad Marchand. But just don't dig too deep on that analogy, please, okay? It was a bad analogy. Do you want Brad Marchand or do you want Owen Tippett? That feels a little bit more on point. All right. I did better there. Okay. Getting into the actual predictions, which, I mean, this is a fucking tough one, man. This is a tough one. Lennon, Harrington, Armory. I do feel like I definitely favor Best Buds on Lennon just right off the bat. I think they're kind of like tailor-made for this map. I don't like the matchup for pretty much anyone against them on Lennon in general. But, 9-5, there's answers to dealing with Best Buds on Lennon. It's just they're pretty tough fucking answers to come by. Like, you just need to out-heavy their insane heavy team, or you just need to dominate the other 2 sides of the map. Good luck doing that against Brad Marchand over in Well, if you can find him first. You think you got Well, you think he's dead, you think there's no way he's back yet, but he's actually prone right under your ball sack. And now it's broken, and he just killed 3 of you, and you got capped on. Certainly, 9-5 has, like, the skill level to deal with all this stuff. And they have the team play and, like, I don't know, what would you call what I just described? slithery tendencies, you know, like they have guys who can slither around and pop up when you least expect it. The ninja plays, you know, like we've seen Caleb do it 1,000 times. He's very capable of it. So it's not like only Adam is doing that. Definitely on the 9-to-5 side, they can offer similar things. It's just, I think the odds are stacked against them on this map. They would need a lot to go right or to have things go really wrong on the Best Buds side. Like they would need a couple of guys to have really bad games, and 9-to-5 would need a couple of guys to have huge games as well. I think for this to be super likely to go the 9-to-5 way, I'm going to say Best Buds takes Lennon. You know, like I'm fairly confident on that one, like 70% chance. Harrington is a lot closer. I do like 9-to-5 on this map overall. I think, you know, you got Corey Price. How many times have we seen him just hard carry a team on this map? Like, and that's when he doesn't also have Soya in mid, just dropping shit bombs all over the map. You know, Soya always good for 70+ kills on this map, just flying all over the place, hitting dumbass shots. You know, on top of that, you put like Caleb potentially as a solo long, or even heavying Mountain and give Rook the long side and just tell him, like, you know, you use that brain, make it slow and make it a process where it's not just like a car crash every time the long guys spawn. Like, I think there are a lot more options here for 9-to-5 to take this map. I definitely favor them. I'd say like 60%. Not 50-50. I do think that they're the better Harrington team overall. I think it bodes well for our chances to get a full 3-map series here. Definitely. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot. Like, obviously, again, with the heavy team on the Best Bud side, I don't know what you do to deal with that. That heavy team is just insane. Certainly, you have the option of having Nacho heavy. You know, I think that's maybe the most obvious move, is put Nacho on the heavy. What would I do after that? Put Nacho on the heavy, put Caleb on the car, Cam on the third. You know, try to have Nacho just go lay the smackdown on the heavy team on these maps. I think that's probably the best answer that I would have for 9-to-5 when it comes to dealing with the Hopper Piff heavy team. It's not a guarantee to work, you know, like Piff and Hopper are insane. And even if Nacho played out of his mind, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be still tough for Nacho and 9 to just like hold down Hopper and Piff for 40 minutes on these two maps. But on Harrington, you have so much extra help coming from your mid team that, you know, the heavy team would have to really have like a near flawless game for a heavy team on Mountain to just straight up win you a game of Harrington when the other parts of the map are getting beat. Obviously, Best Buds always have the X factor of Newfie Brad Marchand. Like, Bromley could just be shifting into mid and finding new and infuriating ways to break the mid cap, and then you got the mental aspect coming into play. Like, you got to not get tilted after 4 times that Adam popped up from a new crevice and broke mid on you when you thought you had it for sure. It's definitely something that could happen. I think if it's a 2-0, it's Best Buds. I don't think that is the most likely scenario. I do think we will get 3 maps here. And the third map is a total fucking toss-up. It really is a toss-up. This map is great for both teams, historically speaking. Obviously, Nando's going to have his hands full with Soya on bridge, but Big Bird, man, he's been just improving, man, every week. I said he was a sniper, and he has proven me right. The more you watch him, the more he looks like a real-ass sniper. He's doing the little things that snipers got to do. And this could be his chance to fully break out into the butterfly of a sniper, the big butterfly, and really put the hurtin' on Soya to make a statement. I think it's not necessary. You know, like, Best Buds don't need Big Bird to put Soya out to pasture this on that map for them to win, but it would certainly help a lot. Because if Soya's out there putting up 75 kills on bridge, again, it's one of those things where, like, it's not impossible. But odds are it's going to be really tough for them to have Bridge for very long at all if Soya is doing what Soya generally does. And on this map, Bridge reigns supreme. You know, like, whether you have Warehouse or not, if you have Bridge, you're gaining points. And obviously, you can't cap out unless you have Bridge. It could be one of those things where it happens where a team like doesn't have Bridge much, but whenever they get it, they do capitalize and get that full cap. And that can be enough to win most of the time as well. Just because to get a whole full cap's worth of tick points involves what? That would be like 5 to 6 minutes of holding Bridge consecutively. Yeah, not super easy to do. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's not impossible. That the Warehouse side of the map with, again, Hopper and Piff, like, that heavy team is such an X factor for Best Buds all the time. It's such a stacked heavy team. But you can have potentially like Corey Price or Nacho over on that side of the map to alleviate the insanity of that heavy team a bit, which is helpful. And then on top of that, obviously, on Allied side, with Soya and Loft, he can be picking rope if any of those guys want to peek on that side. Caleb versus Adam, when it comes to the water play, popping up the ladder, going swimming and shooting, Tommy gun, Unter, all that kind of stuff. That's a factor on this map. The guy who can get the most value out of those plays could actually literally be the difference in winning and losing this game. And I think it's like a very even matchup on Armory, but I really, it just feels like Best Buds are the team of destiny this season. I feel like the way it goes is they end up winning, but they lose the second map of this series. And that, therefore, makes it not technically a perfect season. You know, it's like the Goose season where they went technically undefeated, but did lose a map in the finals. The thing is, like, I guess it's the difference between a perfect season and an undefeated season. Who cares? It really is irrelevant. Like, no one's really actually thinking about that. It's just something to joke about, you know, a month down the road. But I think odds are in favor of Best Buds here. I think it's not like a fucking 80 to 20 kind of odds. It's just, I think when all is said and done, Best Buds find a way to win. You know, this team has, in one form or another, been playing together for a while. And obviously 9 to 5 do have like the main bulk of their team have also played together for a long time. Like Corey, Caleb, Soya now since season 6? Season 6? I think it's season 6. It could be 7. Regardless, it's still a few seasons. You know, Hip as well was there for most of those seasons. Nacho, it's just been this season, I think. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So it's not like 9 to 5 is a pug team or like a team that has one season under their belt. You know, they too have that going for them. It's just Best Buds, like, they have all those seasons plus a LAN where most of this team was playing together, or at least like half the team. And yeah, Best Buds just look near infallible this season. Like, what are their closest games to speak of? They didn't really have any in the playoffs. Like, I was just talking about how their last best of 3 was like looking pretty close, but they still won those games by 200. Their closest games. So Anjou, they won by 44. So again, that's against 9 to 5, so that bodes well. But then Saints, they won by 200 against them. Railyard, they won by a little over 100, but on Railyard, that feels like a relatively like big score. Yeah, and that's basically it. Like, they've just looked that good all season long, and they have not slowed down. If anything, they keep getting better. So I'm going with Best Buds here. They won't love that. They don't want me to pick them, but I'm saying like a 65% chance that Best Buds win 2-1. I think if it's a sweep, it's Best Buds, like 90%, I'd say. And then like 65% chance that Best Buds win 2-1. And then, you know, 35% chance 9 to 5 win 2-1. I think it's pretty low odds that you get a clean sweep on Best Buds here. I mean, they haven't lost a map all season. The odds of them then losing 2 in a row, but it's happened. This has happened before. Do not think that it's impossible. That's why I'm not saying 100%. I'm not even saying 95%. I'm saying like 90% chance that if it's a 2-0, if it would be Best Buds that win, but I don't think that's going to happen. I see very, very low likelihood of it being a straight 2-0 sweep. I think 9-5 finds a way to win on Harrington. We go to Armory, and Armory ends up being a game that's within a cap and a half at most. Like, I think that'll be a very dramatic, big finish to that series on Armory, and that would be fun. All right, on to Silver. Holy shit. Oh, it's already been an hour. I need to talk less. All right, Silver. First up, we've got Revo versus B Team. You can see there, Revo with the quick little sweep, although it did get very dramatic on Armory. 5-point game there. B Team has been the one team that has made Revo look beatable this season. They're obviously eliminated now, but they can hang on to that one small shred of like, hey, we accomplished something. They are the reason that you can say Revo is clearly beatable. They beat them on Anjou, and they almost beat them on Armory to force the third map here. Lennon was a bit of a blowout, 772 to 225. So Axis side, it was 116 points, which was not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. For the B Team, 35 kills for Josh. He loves my feet. Who doesn't? They smell so good. Stark had 29. Brandon had 25, it looks like. 24 for Ryan, 23 for Steve, 16 for Colby. And on the Revo side, he had 34 on Saka, 31 for Luciano. Their well team just looks so hard to fucking play against. Johnsky with 30 and Apps, 27 for Birdie at Long, 20 for Kum, 19 for Eclipse. Like I said, about a 2-cap lead. Wait, what? There it is. Okay, that is the other half. For a second, I was kind of confused. It looked like a different map. Anyways, much more of a blowout in the second half. Ends up being a 550-point game in the end. They almost broke 200 kills. They had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys break 30. Their bottom fragger was 24 and 20. A crazy half. On the B Team side, Steve had a great half on Axis side. Honestly, like, huge bright spot there, the way that Steve played on Axis side of this map in a very difficult half of DOD. He was 31 and 22. Josh and Brandon with 29 apiece. ST Kevin Stark with 28. 18 for Colby, 17 for Ryan. It was just a relentless fucking attack on the last flag by Revo here. It did not look like a fun game to be playing on the Axis side. You had 37 for Saka, 36 for Luciano. Again, that well team just fucking insane. 33 for Birdie on Long, again, having really strong games going long on Lennon here. 33 for Johnsky and Apps. 26 for Kum on the heavy partner. And 24 and 20 for Eclipse. Everybody went positive on the Revo side, and 4 out of the 6 of them broke 30. Just a wild half and overall game for Revo there on Lennon. Yeah. We saw Lennon Shift W play against Revo, and that was a pretty close game, but if on most teams, I would not want to play them on that map. No. Then, what the fuck does that say? What in the shit does that say? 97, maybe? Oh, that is a very unfortunate spot. I think it's 97 to 56. Holy shit. This is like the first screenshot that might be totally unreadable. Oh, I might have. Do I have this one? Armory. Maybe I have a better look at that. Armory, is this you? Yeah. 97 to 56. Look at that. It's totally readable. You guys are tripping. Okay. So yeah, a good win here on the Allied side. About 1 cap. On the B team side, 34 kills for Steve, putting in work in the loft. 38 kills for Kevin over on the heavy side. 30 for Brandon with the Garand. 27 for Ryan on the bar. Again, the heavy's looking great over there. 25 for Josh and 20 for Colby. And then on the Revo side, 38 for Luciano. He did a very similar thing to the Emo Frag squad on Axis side of this map. 30 for Kum, 26 for Birdie and Saka, 22 for Eclipse, 18 for Johnsky. A lead after the first half for B team. It looked like they were going to manage to pull it off, but in the end, Revo did just enough. They did just enough. Oh, it came down to the wire, man. This was a fun game. They win by 5 points. 5. Everybody had good games here across both teams, but this one came right down to the wire. You should just go watch the cast. It was a fun one. 32 for, look at this like nice uniform screenshot here. 32 for Kum, 30 for Luciano, 30 for Saka, 25 for Birdie, 25 for Eclipse, 25 for Johnsky. Nice and in order. It's a beautiful thing. Basically an even KD ratio for them across the board there. -1 technically. And then on the B team side, Kevin with 38 kills, man, trying to do it all there and bring the team to a third map. 29 for Josh on the car. 27 for Steve, 26 for Brandon and Colby, 16 for Ryan, and just short B team comes up there. Again, the one team that has made Revo look human this season, but Revo does pull off the 2-0 when all is said and done there and push themselves through to the finals where, you know, everyone knew they were going to end up one way or another. But, hold on, I need to go get another Red Bull. I did not expect... I'm going to say I did not expect myself to talk this much, but here we are. I'm talking like I always talk. But this is the new thing I'm going to do is play a DoD movie when I have to get up and go get a drink because my throat's... 1, 2, 3, 4. Not new. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. I'm so sorry that I'm going to have to turn this movie off in a second. It's a great movie. I say his best movie. It is the movie that stands the test of time more than his other ones. Surface is clean. I remember watching this clip live. I say it every time I watch this movie. Do 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 ding. Ooh, ding. 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 Great movie. That was that movie is actually when I like felt like anybody knew who I was at all, because he had messaged me asking me if a certain part of that movie was synced as well as it could be, and I was like, what, Hackpith is messaging me about a movie right now? This is insane. At first I thought he was messaging me to ask me to make his movie though. So it's kind of like, oh yes, I get to make Hackpith's movie, and then it was like, actually, can you take a look at this and tell me if like this is synced? I was like, oh yeah, I guess. Great movie though. Definitely, I think the best of the bunch. I think that the nostalgia factor for all his other movies is still insane, but when you put all of his movies up against the way that the movies, like the great movies of the future came to pass, that's the one that holds up the most. All the clips are great clips. If you go back and watch like Hackpith 3, 4, 2.5, Atlanta, all those, there's definitely a lot of clips in there that if you got it nowadays, you wouldn't even like think that it was anything good. Whereas that movie, those are all like clips that you could put them in a movie now and people would still be not bat an eye at it. Obviously, also having like gunshot sounds helps make it look a little more up to date. Syncing everything, the colors were good. Yeah, love that movie. Love that movie. Sorry. Shift W versus Soul. So this was the one where it was like, man, who wins this game? I have no idea. Just look at the scores on this one. Just look at that. 40, not even 40, 37. And then 58 is the biggest. Actually, no, it's not the biggest blowout. 58, and then this one is 60. So adding up all the score differential, you get 37, and then Soul wins by 58. So that's a 21 in favor of Soul. 39-point differential in favor of Shift W total for this best of three. Total. Exactly as close as I think we all expected it to be. I missed. Here's the thing. It sucks because I want to have all the games casted before I do the Dodcast, but it was kind of a weird one where like there was multiple games going on at the same time, and like the previous week I had shifted between so many games. It was just like a terrible idea. This game was kind of the victim of that, where I didn't want to be going back and forth between two games, so I stuck with the Revo B-Team series the whole way through, especially because the second map got so close. I ended up in here for, I think, about half of Harrington and all of Armory, but then Saints actually is missing one demo as well, so we only have one half of Saints to potentially recast, and then one half of Harrington that I didn't get to do. So Saints-wise, I actually don't know much about what happened here. That's the second half of Saints. So this is first half, 84-25 on the Allied side for Shift W, which is, I mean, that's a really big win for them on Saints. Soul is no fucking joke on Saints. Like I've said many times, I think if you had a pound-for-pound list, Soul would be the best pound-for-pound Saints team, I think, in the game. But hey, sometimes you even lose on your best maps. It happens. Trust me, as Railroad 2 has shown me at least once. I mean, I've lost myself on Railroad 2, obviously more than once, but like when it comes to playing with Thunder on Railroad 2, we're not supposed to lose that map, and we did once, so. All right, 84-25, plus 29 kills, a pretty dominant half, it looks like, for Shift W here, but again, I didn't see this game at all. 44 kills for German Kev, dominating over there with 44. Don't know how he did it. For all I know, he could have been prone and shooting guys in the back the whole way. Maybe it wasn't dominant. I have no clue. And this is the demo that we don't have. Of course. Of course. 33 for the Shredster on the other bar. That's pretty good, though, between the two heavies. 77 kills. 30 for SQ. Of course, you know what you're going to get from SQ always. 28 and 23 for Hooli. And then 22 for both Raleigh and Raven. And on the Soul side, Jared, man, he's just had such an insane season, heavying here. Like, he basically has 30 kills every half. 32 on the STG, 27 for Craig, 25 for Pipes, 23 for Blackhawk, 22 for Arachnid, and 21 for the Bear. It's a plus 59-point lead. Going into the second half, what's the score there in the end? 84, so that's 49 for Shift W and 71. 71 to 49. Obviously, it ends up being a 37-point win, so one cap would have done it. It looks like they were probably pushing for it there as well. You can see an Axis player crouched in the back alley as if they're defending the one. So Shift W this half, their cars had the best game in there. Actually, just their rifles in general. 31 and 22 for SQ, 29 and 27 for Raleigh, 28 and 22 for Raven, 25 for Shreddies, 24 and 22 for Hooli, 23 for Kev. And then on the Soul side, again, Jared, 34 kills with the bar, 27 for Jackson, 26 for Pipes, 24 for Arachnid, 22 for Blackhawk, 19 for Cam. Sometime probably today, I'll at least be able to cast this half and the first half of Harrington, but 1-0 Shift W here on Saints, which, like I said, I felt was, I think that's Soul's pick. I thought surefire Soul wins Saints, but 37-point win for Shift W there. Then it goes to the Harrington. And this one I felt was very 50-50. And I picked Shift W to win this map. It was their map pick. I feel like their play style was going to be advantageous on it, but Soul proved that when the best teams have their backs against the wall, they're going to find a way to win. 260 to 202. That looks like it's second half again there. So first half is actually a 1-point win for Shift W on Allied side Harrington. You know Soul was feeling good about it at that point. You know it. You come out of your Axis side basically not losing, like you feel you've already won this game on Harrington. For Shift W, they almost broke 200 there, 188, 36 for SQ, 35 for Kev, 32 for Hooli, 31 for Raven. Their bottom fraggers tied at 27 kills. That's a bonkers half for a team. That was Shreddies and Raleigh that both had 27. And then for the Soul side, 39 for Pipes, insane Axis side heavy half, and 35 for Jared. 74 kills between the two heavies, and given the way that Harrington tends to go, it feels like, even though I didn't see this half, odds are the heavies dropping 74 kills there is the biggest reason that this wasn't more of a one half for Shift W. Because you're defending at your last flag a lot on Axis side, or not, even if it's not a lot, you have to defend on that side at some point, and your heavies need to be a big part of that. Most often the biggest part of that, because once they get up to the actual flag itself, like that's where your heavies especially need to thrive. 74 kills between the two of them. You couldn't ask for a better half there. 27 for Arachnid, 24 for both Craig and Cam, and 23 for Blackhawk. 1-point lead for Shift W at the half. And like I said, you got to feel like you already got it won, but it does end up pretty even in this half. Like, obviously, it was a 1-point lead, and then it ends up being 58. So it's a 57-point win for Soul on their Allied side. A little over a cap, but they did have 33 more kills. So it looks like they dominated this half a little bit more than the score reflects. 32 kills for Raven on the Stas. He just had an outstanding series in general here. Even if the scores don't reflect it on Armory, I can tell you he had a lot of very big moments in that game. 29 kills for Raleigh, 29 kills for Hooli, 26 for Shreddies, 23 for Kev, and 18 for SQ. And then for Soul, 37 kills for each of their heavies. Jared goes 37 and 24. Pipes goes 37 and 22. Again, with Pipes, like, he was not a natural heavy coming into this season, and you've just seen the progression for him as the season has gone on. He obviously always could shoot stuff with the heavies. It was everything else that needed to continue to develop for him, and, I mean, hey, here we are in the semifinals, and he's having, realistically, his best games of the season in the playoffs. He played outstanding against Clan X, and I mean, I didn't see these first three halves, but clearly played very, very well in them. 35 and 18 for Arachnid, almost a 2-1. That's also a very important thing on the Allied side of Harrington. Being able to sustain pressure can often come down to a sniper in mid, making sure that whatever happens, he's still continuing to thin out the Axis numbers at Mountain. It's a very tough shot to hit for the Axis players peeking into mid-house. And then if they try to sneak out top white, your sniper's right there again. Huge half for Arachnid there. 31 for Cam, 26 for Blackhawk, 24 for Craig. Soul takes map 2. Each team steals the opposing team's map pick. And then we go to the final half of the series. Final game, I mean. Final map. Baka! So, first half here, Shift W on Allied side Armory, 155 to 51. The kills were a dead heat, although Shift W had a lot more suicides and TKs. Wait, what? How is there 143 kills and 100? Did someone lag out? That doesn't even make sense. 143 kills, but 141 deaths? Huh? Somebody had to have lagged out. Who lagged out? Was it the bear? The bear lags out these days. I think it had to have been the bear. I don't know. That's fucking weird. How do you end up with less deaths than the other team had kills? I've never seen that before off the top of my head. It's usually more, right? Because, like, TKs, suicides, whatever. Huh. That's puzzling. I'm assuming, I don't remember, but I'm assuming there was a brief lag out, and that's why. Otherwise, fucking A, I don't know. On the Shift W side here, though, Kev, it was 32 and 32. Hooli at 31 and 21. Raven at 24 and 25, but he had a crazy, I think it was a total of 5 kills on the Grand. I wonder if somebody made a clip of that. This was a nutty, clean-looking Grand clip that he had. Don't start talking, Corey. Thank you, piece of shit. Maybe if I go like this. And then go content clips. Okay. Fallen Flick. Speechless. Oh, this is Kevin's clip. Right? Up in the loft. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, it doesn't look like there's a Raven clip here. He had himself a crazy one, though. Just trust me. He, like, went up the ladder on the Axis end of bridge, dropped off it, got, like, a Garand kill on Susie, a Garand kill into the loft, and then a Garand kill to wallpaper, pushed up, got into their loft, got another 2 or 3 Garand kills there, just completely suppressed Soul onto their last flag. Huge. Even though the kills, like I said, may not reflect it, he had very important role to play in this half. 21 for SQ, 19 for Shreddy, 16 for Raleigh, and then again for Soul. 32 kills for Jarrett and 30 kills for Pipes. These heavies were just outstanding in this series. That's crazy. 24 and 21 for Arachnid, 24 for Craig, 17 for Blackhawk, 16 for Cam, 104-point lead after the Allied side for Shift W there. And then the final half score, let's see, 155, 215. So that'd be 60. And they had 51 and 155. So 104. 104 to 60. Ends up being a 60-point difference overall. Eventually, so Soul was really fighting here, man. It was at the point where it looked like they could cap out and win the game, but eventually Shift W did get control back, and it basically got it to the point where they were going to need 2 cap outs, and there was just not enough time left for that. Soul did not go down without swinging for the fucking bleachers, though, man. They just kept coming. They took it down to the wire. And Shift W proved, though, and this is important for them for the finals, they proved that they can still win games, that they're not just, like, walking all over the other team. That's very important with teams like this that are chock full of raw talent. But, you know, especially in this case, they've only really been playing together this season as a unit. You need to be able to win these close games. And every, like, new player, like, okay, who'd we have? I think Hooli and Raleigh played together last season. SQ and Raven, I think, played together last season. Kev wasn't there. Shreddy's was on Soul. So, like, very puggy to start this season for Shift W. They won a lot of games in blowout fashion. And then the tougher games, they kind of ended up losing. Like, let me just take an actual look at it so I'm not lying. So yeah, blowout game, blowout game, blowout game. This is a closer game on Anjou against No-Go. Blowout game, and then loss to Seoul on Thunder, loss to Revo on Lennon, loss to Revo on Saints. So this was an important series, I think, for Shift W and their chances to beat Revo in the finals, because Revo is obviously never just going to roll over. You're not going to blow Revo out no matter what. It's going to be a close game where things are going to go back and forth. You got to be able to keep the mental strong. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to not just adapt, but communicate with your team the adaptations that need to happen and how you're going to go about it. And this, I think, bodes well for Shift W's chances in the finals, that they were able to prevail through this series, through adversity, against a team like Seoul, who is a great team and relentless. So again, Jared with 35 kills. He had to average about 35 kills for this series. Same with Pipes. He only had 27 here, but he had like 37 to 40 kills, 4 different halves. 30 and 19 for Arachnid. 23 for Craig. 20 for Cam. 19 for Jordan. And then on the Shift W side, 30 and 19 for Raleigh. Very important game for him going rope. He was really locking shit down and finding the kills that were preventing Seoul from getting a lot of the space that they needed to be able to get set up and go for the cap outs towards the end of this half. If Raleigh had missed like a couple more shots, honestly, that alone could have been enough for Seoul to break through and end up pushing this thing and winning it. 29 for Kev, 25 for Hooli, 23 for both Raven and Shreddies, and 21 for SQ. Shift W take it. This is what I was alluding to earlier, how I said, like, it's the 1 versus 3 seed, but from before the season and through the first, 6 weeks of the season, most people saw Revo and Shift W as the 2 best teams in silver. Those were the 2 teams who was like, they should maybe be in gold. So, feels like a 1 versus 2 in the end. Shift W had a rough last 3 weeks of the regular season, obviously. That kind of dropped them from that 1-2 spot. Like, it was actually up for grabs. They were the 1 seed, actually, for the majority of the season. They were tied with Revo for a while, and then B-Team beats Revo on Anjou, and Shift W right here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0. And at that point, Revo was 4-1, and Shift W was going into the matchups with, I think they played this Revo game first. And whoever won that game was going to be in the 1 seed for the near future. But then they played against Seoul and Revo back-to-back games and ended up losing both of them. So then it was kind of like, okay, well, now they would have a lot of trouble getting back up to that 1 seed, especially with the loss to Seoul in particular. So yeah, again, point being, though, like, any finals matchup you have where it was Revo versus Shift W or Seoul, it feels like a 1 versus 2 here. So we kind of had that going on throughout all 3 of the finals. Now, we can take a little gander at how the pick ban went. We already did talk about this, but let's look at it closer. So, off the bat, Revo bans Thunder. I think that's, again, just them not really wanting to play Thunder. Shift W lost on Thunder. I don't think Revo would feel like they're like a mismatch on Thunder or anything, but I think it's just, let's not play this map and take the chance. You don't want to, especially with Hooli on that team, don't give Hooli the chance to dominate a map to a victory. Then Shift W bans Harrington. Yeah. I think at this point, the options were either ban Harrington, ban Lennon, ban Anzio, and I think that's the most sensible one. You can try your chances on Anzio. I think you can make some adjustments to feel really good about it. And then Lennon, they played each other, and it was a close game. It's just, I think they feel like they can win on Lennon. They didn't want to take their chances ending up on Harrington. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Revo respond by picking Lennon. Shift W go with Armory, which makes sense given the way that 3rd map went. Seoul is a great Armory team. And again, like I was saying too, like in a close game, showing that you can work things out on that map under pressure. It's a good pick. Revo has not looked unstoppable on Lennon, or on Armory, I mean. the biggest thing for them on Armory is like their rifles are just wild. Like Luciano just basically does whatever he wants on Armory and on his way to dropping 70 plus kills. They need an answer for Luciano, whether it's somebody who can just go head to head with him and outshoot him, or having someone specifically look to try to just like keep him from ever getting extended. Somebody who's just pretty much looking to frustrate them on bridge, pop their little head up, shoot them in the back, pop back down. This is the answer. Obviously, on the warehouse side of the map, dealing with Saka is also going to be a handful, and Jonski, and Kum. All of them, this team's stacked to the fucking tits, but not insurmountable. Then they ban Anzio. That's the obvious thing to do at that point. Leave it with a couple of very interesting maps that it could end up on, either Rail Yard or Saints. Let Revo decide which one of those two they want to try their hand at. They ban Rail Yard. It's a Saints decider. I would love to see it go to Saints, but we did see this matchup, and Revo kind of took it very convincingly. So, I mean, the nice thing about that is it means that they have game tape to look at and try to improve. And again, that was early in the lifespan of the Saints. So I doubt it would go exactly the same way, right? Like, Shift W players have all played the map more since then. Revo's players have too, though. I think any games that you saw in week 1 of this new Saints, I think you can't learn that much from them, because players did not play it that much at that point. A lot of changes on it. And then now players have gotten a lot more reps on it and kind of figured out the way that the meta needs to be played to have a chance to be successful. So I don't think that just because Revo won by this much in their previous matchup on Saints means that they would do the same thing again. It's just a different scenario now. Ooh, okay, so lineup-wise, you basically know what you're getting from these two teams. Shift W, Shreddy's on a heavy, German-Norwegian Kev on the other heavy, Raven on the third, SQ and Raleigh on the cars, and then Hooli, Big Hool Dog on the sniper. And then for Revo, Kum on a heavy, Jonski on a heavy, Birdie on a third, Luciano and Saka on the cars, Eclipse on the sniper. They have both Nick and Jizz able to pop in if needed. An insane set of backups, obviously. But they have not needed backups all that often. I think Saka missed one game. Maybe Saka even missed both the games that they used a backup in. Let me double check. Revo. So yeah, Saka missed 2, and then Jizz played the one on Lennon, Nick played the one on Anju. I was correct about this. All right. So Lennon is the first map. Here's the thing. I think that both these maps are pretty 50-50. Either team can win either of these maps. Revo is not unbeatable, but they are really fucking good at Lennon. The thing is, Shift W has already played them on Lennon, and they were able to keep up with them. Do we have screenshots for them, like, near us here? There's Manners Minders. That was a Lennon game for them. Do. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Okay. Nope. That's Saints. Fuck. Where is it? Oh, shit. Kidding me? There it is. Okay, so that's interesting. I forgot about this. This was one of the games, actually, that Saka was not there. So maybe not as much to learn about this matchup as I was thinking. Because that is kind of a different story when you have Saka and Luciano. Jizz played great, man. Don't get me wrong. Jizz played great. But Saka's a fucking monster. And it's tough to really have somebody come in and replicate what Saka brings to the table, especially on Lennon. So they won by 95. So basically a cap and a half, almost 2 caps. But again, there is things to be learned. They have the game tape on 2 out of the 3 of these maps from a head-to-head matchup against each other. So that is good for Shift W. They need to actually go to the game tape, though, and use that to their advantage, or else it just doesn't matter. They need to look at where their problems were. The thing is, too, though, for Shift W, they had Blue playing here on the heavy, not Shreddy. So it was kind of 5v5 when it comes to who the starters were for the finals versus who the starters were in this game. So, not necessarily a perfect set of game tape to learn from. You know, like if they look at it and they're like, oh, we needed our heavies to be pushing into Blue Room more, well, maybe Shreddies would have done that. And maybe now you're just giving Shreddies an extra thing to think about that he doesn't need to be. Luciano, insane. Jizz. Eclipse played well. Both halves. He was great on Allied side. Birdie. And 29 for Kum, 29 and 32 for Luciano. Johnsky was the big problem on Allied side, so they're going to need an answer for that. Hooley played great as well, and SQ. Oof, man. Oofa. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like we're due for 3 maps here. I think Shift W wants it bad, man. I think they want it bad, and I think that they will find a way to win one of the first 2 maps. I have no idea which one wins which. Common sense says, you know, oh, well, Revo wins Lennon, it's their pick, and Shift W wins Armory, it's their pick, but both the teams are good enough at both those maps that it could easily be each team steals the opposing team's map. Just for the sake of gambling on it, I'm gonna say that it is each team winning their map pick. I think Revo will win Lennon. I think they'll win Lennon by like about 100, but I think Shift W will 100% end up winning Armory. I think Shift W has the answers for Armory, to be honest. Looking at how they played against Seoul, I think they win Armory. To be honest, I actually feel like if they can manage to steal Lennon, they might be able to sweep it 2-0. This is one of those series where like there's no outcome that I think is more likely than other outcomes at all. Any of these outcomes I think are equally likely. I could easily see Revo go 2-0. I could easily see Shift W go 2-0, and I could easily see either team lose on the third map. I fucking don't know. Saints Decider is just that's kind of the fly in the ointment there, you know. I feel like based on, again, and it's not like the best thing to extrapolate from because there's just not that many hours on Saints, but Revo won that very convincingly. It started off very close as well. If I recall correctly, the first half was like single-digit point differential. There it is. Okay, it was 13 points. That's crazy. After the Allied side, Shift W was only down by 13 points. Like, Revo did not, like, go out and smoke them on Allies the way you expect to see on Saints a lot of the time now. So I don't really know how things took the turn that they did here on the Axis side. I guess it really just comes down to Johnsky had 43 kills. Saka and Luciano and Birdie all had mid-30s kills. Like, they just went insane fragging. I guess that basically sums it up. I don't know. That's a very weird game when you look at the screenshots, you know? Revo wins by like a barely that much on Allied side Saints and then just rail them to oblivion on their Axis side. That's the great equalizer of the K98. But then the weird thing is that Johnsky actually top fragged with an STG. So I guess the great equalizer of the STG. That's the thing with a lot of Allied-sided maps is that they can turn Axis-sided just on the back of good cars. The car is insane if you have it in the right hands and can just obliterate a team if you got a guy like Luciano and Saka just making life a living hell for you. Even Birdie there actually outfragged both the cars. Like, what the fuck, man? What a weird game that is. Hooley was good. Raven was good. Shreddies was good. I think Kev was right up there as well. I don't know what the answer is here for Shift W if it goes to Saints. They just need to watch this game and see what they can find went wrong here, or if anything even did go wrong. It might have just been that Revo was running up the map and hitting their shots, in which case the answer might be to fucking slow it down a little bit. I know everybody hates the idea of slowing it down a little bit, but this is the finals now, guys. When it gets to that point in the season, like, it's not about I never shot anybody in the back, I'm so much better than you. Like, nobody's going to remember whether you shot somebody in the back. They're going to remember whether you win the game in the finals or not. So I think at this point, if they do go watch the demos and see, like, it wasn't like mistakes, it was just we were taking fights and they were winning the fights. Maybe just don't give them as many fights. Use your nades. Make them think about it. Don't let them go on ultra instinct mode and just run out with 3 guys on the bridge and all hit 2 car shots in a row. But I haven't watched the demos to be able to tell you that that's what happened. It could have been like very glaringly obvious mistakes on the Shift W side in positioning, in rotation, not hitting nades to break it, not even trying to break mid, bad communication, etc., etc. There's a million things on that map that it could have been. And again, it was early in the timeline for that version of Saints, so it could even just be that they didn't have a good feel for the way the map plays structurally yet. They did win on Saints here against Seoul. That is a good sign. Seoul, in my opinion, like I said, pound for pound, best Saints team in the game. Certainly that's, like I said, how it felt early in the lifespan of the game. So maybe this is also a sign that other teams were catching up to where Seoul was at early on, and they kind of set the meta, which, to be honest, is how it felt to me. A lot of what I and G-Skill were doing on Saints, we kind of learned from having scrimmed against Seoul on it and having a really close game with them, where it was like, okay, maybe that is the right idea, and maybe that is the right idea, and maybe we need to be on the lookout for that and this. So yeah, I'm gonna say Revo 2-1. But I'm going to say that is a 53% chance. Almost 50-50. I'm just going with Revo here, mostly because I feel like on paper, and just when you watch the games in the server, they look like a good gold team. Not even just like they look like they belong in gold to go like 0-6 or whatever. They look like a team that would be winning games in gold this season. Shift W also looks like they could be good in gold. But there's just a little bit of a difference in the way it feels when I play against Revo. Like, when I play against Revo, it just feels like I have no chance a lot of the time. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, I just don't have a chance. Like, when Johnsky peeks me here, I'm just dead. When Luciano peeks me here, I'm just dead. Like, I'm not going to win this fight, no matter what I do. It's just a little bit of a difference in the way that it physically feels playing against these two teams. You know, they're both insane teams, and like I said, to me, you could have put both those teams in gold, and they would have found ways to win multiple games in gold, I think. But the way that it feels in game against them is just a little bit crazier against Revo. They just with Luciano, Johnsky, Saka, Birdie. You know, and then even when they're not having good games, Kumkum and Eclipse have always popped off in the games where any of those first 4 guys don't drop 70 kills. Like, they're a very well-balanced and well-put-together team. They do everything by brute force, though. And I think that is the one, you know, B team. I think that the reason that B team is the one to look like a team that can beat Revo is because B team has guys that are thinking a few steps ahead. And, you know, I mean, we've seen Brandon do some crazy shit, some frustrating shit, you know, swimming around, just being a nuisance, keeping guys off flags, shooting guys in the back, stuff like that. I think that is really stuff that you have to do against Revo. You do not want to just go out there and try to bang heads with each other against Revo, because that's what they want and that's what they thrive at. And it's really... It's very fitting that they're called Revo, because it's like very reminiscent of over every single season of KTP, where if you just go out there and try to brag against these guys and nothing else and play it like a death match, those are the games that they win. The second that there's an opportunity to really think ahead of them is where you can start pulling things back in your direction, because they are insane at just shooting you. You don't want that smoke, man. And it's there's nothing wrong with that, you know? Like, that's fine. It's about winning the game in the end. It's a competitive league. It's not a who can get the most frags league. So that would be my mandate if I was like the coach of Shift W. It would be give them less straight up fights. If this were CS, it'd be like use your utility to make things tough on them, smoke them off, pop flash for each other. Don't just dry peek and assume you're going to fucking bone the other guy because you're so much better than them. This is DoD online as well. Like, you can win fights a lot of time and still lose them because the game's netcode is dog shit and, you know, look at LASIK shooting guys for 8 damage with the Garand. Like, you get the first 2 shots off and you're both standing still, and sometimes it just doesn't hit. So I think that's the name of the game for Shift W to turn things back in their favor here. It's just taking a second, just a little bit more time before going all balls deep and trying to just fight everybody. And like, I'm just going to ace 1v6 right here and carry my team back to a cap out. Like, that ain't happening against Revo, man. No way 6 guys are going to miss you. No way. Not on that team. Nope. But I'm going Revo 2-1. And like I said, 53%, I feel like. But I really think that game goes 3. Shift W wants it. Shift W is not just cruising at this point. I promise you, these guys are putting thought into it and trying everything they can to go win this game. They want vengeance for being 2-0'd by Revo in the regular season. They feel like they are the best team in the division. They want to prove it. I'm sure Revo does as well. You know, these guys all take the game very seriously. They play a lot. They put in the time. So yeah, that's going to be a barn burner of a series. However many maps we get, I assure you. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no. Why is it showing the same amount of time there? What the fuck? That's really weird. Okay, maybe we're fine. Maybe this is just frozen. I'm just going to keep going on, and we're going to see what happens here. I don't know if I'm technically still recording. Did I run out of space on my hard drive or something? No. What the fuck's going on here? Well, that's not good. Oh, fuck. All right. Last but not least, it's gold. I'm going to try to really burn through this as quickly as I can, because now I'm worried that I've been recording for, like, over an hour extra that is not even recording. Okay. Whew, where are we here? Dice versus Over. All right, so 2-0 sweep for Over here. First map was Harrington. Dice win that bad boy, 491-93. Half one on Allies, 302-32. They had 206 kills. Nightmare was the only guy who didn't break 30 because there was just no one left for him to kill. And we've seen this happen quite a bit on the Over side of things, where Nightmare is just left with nothing to do. And I actually rang for them in a scrim on this day and sniped, and I completely understood what Nightmare feels like playing for this team. I wonder if I have the screenshots. I should. How far back was this? That's the actual match. So yeah. 204 kills. Okay, I guess I found some kills on Allied side. I found some kills that they had 400 and fucking... Oh, no, that's a scrim. Or a 12-man, I mean. I don't have another screenshot, I guess. Huh. Did I not play the second half of that scrim, maybe? I swear I played both halves, but maybe not. I don't remember now. Did I maybe move? Oh, you know what? I might have moved that one over to accidentally with my Icy Hot. Whatchamacallit. Let's see. I take way too many screenshots. Holy shit, man. What was that? That's a scrim. That's not my own match. See? I definitely moved some shit over here wrongly. But it doesn't look like that was one of them. Well, I don't know then. There's a missing screenshot. Or I just didn't play that second one. Who fucking knows? Who cares? Shut up, Corey. 42 kills for SZ, 40 kills for Chi, 36 kills for No Name, 35 kills for Caffrey, 33 kills for Devin. Nightmare goes 20 and 16. And then on the dice side, 28 for Paul, 26 for Johnny and Alex, 23 for Kevin, 22 for Matt, 17 for Chris. Just a crazy allied side for over there. And then the second half, they end up winning. So that would be 61, 189 to 61 on the Axis side. And they broke 220 kills, which I don't know if we've seen that in KTP. I don't think we have. But that's kind of a good microcosm of what this over team is. I mean, that's an insane number of kills. So yeah, 31 for Alex, 27 for Johnny, 26 for Paul, 24 for Matt, 23 for Chris, 20 for Stealth, and then 52 kills for No Name, 42 kills for Chi, 40 kills for Nightmare, 35 for Devin, and then poor SC and Caffrey only able to get 27 and 24 respectively. That's insane. Caffrey and SZ in the first half combined for 77 kills. If they had basically done like another 3 kills each, well, I mean, if they had gotten 10 more kills between the two of them, it would have been 230 fucking kills. Like, what? There might not have even been that many kills left to go around. I always talk about this in regards to the kill totals. There's only so many kills to get in a half a DOD. Like, short of just spawning and running straight forward when you spawn and dying without ever stopping, like, there's a limited number of kills you can get, and this is really pushing the envelope on how many kills you can get. 220 kills is a lot. When people break 200, it's very rare, and that's another 20 kills there. So 491 to 93 on Harrington there for over. Second map, this was Dice's pick, Thunder, and over just came out flying again here. Allied side, they win by about 198 to be exact. It was plus 47 kills, I think. Yeah, 47. 29 for Alex, doing Alex things with the car on mid, going into loft, hitting shots like a sniper. 26 and 25 for Kevin, 24 for Paul, 20 for Matt, 15 for Johnny, 14 for Chris. And then on the overside, 40 and 10 for Nightmare. He was basically unkillable in this game. Basically, as close to unkillable as one man can be. He was basically the Terminator. 33 for No Name, 32 for SC, 27 for Chi, 24 for Devin, Caffrey at 19. He was actually the only negative player on the team there. And then this half, we don't really have the end rounds. I feel like Nightmare also went 40-something and 10 or something in this half, too. Do I have a better screenshot for that? 34 and 12. 34 and 12 for Nightmare. 38 for No Name. He was the MVP. 31 for Chi. I think he's second top fragged overall. 26 for SC. 24 for Caffrey. 19 for Devin. He had to be on mid-house, mid-break duty there. And then for Dice, 26 for Chris. 24 for Kevin. 22 for Alex and Paul. 19 for Johnny. 18 for Matt. And again, in the end, 215 to 75 for over there. Just a convincing win, putting a stamp on this season to get themselves in their first final as a franchise. This is their 9th season. There was one season where they were named something else, but they were still basically over. Everybody coming into the season that had been paying attention, as soon as they heard about what the roster changes were, they knew this was the season for over to try to take it all the way. And now they are one step closer to the edge, and they're about to break. What does it say? See you at... Oh, okay. I was like, what's a quat? I was so confused. Now it makes sense, though. But yeah, 2-0. They go to the finals. Who are they going to play? I mean, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to do my best to not be partial in this regard, but I've watched a whole lot of DOD. A whole lot. And also noting that best of threes were not really something that happened in DOD in the past. G-Skill and Thunder in multiple TPG finals did play best of threes because it was G-Skill Thunder and everybody wanted to see that and we were both down for it. But even the best of threes then were not something that the other divisions we're doing, there's not a lot of best of 3 history before KTP. I think this is probably the craziest best of 3 that there has been in DoD when you just look at it like bare bones. So you can see here, obviously, this is the biggest like blowout realistically, 238 to 157. That's 81 points. But we did get a cap out in the last like minute or something when the game was basically already done. To me, this is really a 39 or 41 or whatever point game. So a 1 cap game, and then a game that went to overtime. A third, just that alone. You don't even need to think about the first 2 maps. Just the third map was on Anzio, and it went to overtime. That right there makes the whole case by itself. Like, there have been a lot of crazy series. I'm sorry. Maybe there's a series that I am forgetting about throughout all these seasons of KTP. I've casted thousands of hours of KTP games, but I don't think that there's anything in a best of 3 that can compare with a third map going to overtime on Anzio. It's not even on Thunder, on Solitude. We saw a couple Saints overtimes. Those are the maps that you generally get overtime on because it's 1 double cap and, you know, the math starts to work out where it's like, oh, we know we got to go make this play for mid. This is our last chance. And then you get it and then you hold it out. This is Anzio with 2 double caps and then a mid flag that is a single cap that is worth a point as well. You do not see overtimes on Anzio. I would guess, historically speaking, with games that I cannot even imagine that were played over the course of DoD history, there has probably been 3 or less overtimes ever on Anzio, period. Let alone in a third map of a best of 3 in the highest division in the semifinals. Just crazy. All that is to say, tell me this thing. Oh no, it's still frozen like that, bro. That's not good. I'm so pissed off right now. Why is that happening? What did I do to break this? Tell me it's not broken. I'm going to be so mad. No one might even hear this. Anyways, so Armory, map 1, G-Skill's pick. 238 to 157. G-Skill win on Armory here. First half, Allied side, 132 to 68. +9 was the kills here for Icy Hot. Sean had 34. Jules with 27. William with 26. Mitch with 24. Ben with 23. Tox with 22. And then on the G-Skill side, Taylor with 33. Huge half for him. 29 for Andrew. He had like the most important play of this half. He got like 7 or 8 kills. Pushing through Pizza. Well, really starting at this flag that the screenshot is showing right now. Pushing all the way through and capping out. 25 for Colin. Huge plays on bridge. Breaking. 22 for Milo. 19 for me and Chuck. I honestly, out of my 27 deaths, I think I got naded at Back Cave or Boardwalk legitimately at least 20 times, and I'm not exaggerating. Icy Hot's nades were very on point to the extent that I just couldn't even like move past our half of the map. Then in the second half, so we won by 64, and then we went in total by 81. So we won by, what? 17 points this half. This half was very back and forth. Bridge ended up being kind of, obviously, it's Armory, the big battle. Wait, what did I feel like what I just said didn't make sense. 64. And we won by 80. Okay, yeah, so we won by 17. I was right. Kills were plus 15 in our favor. Ben had himself a great half there. 33 and 22. 23 for Jules and Sean. 20 for Mitch and Jared. 19 for William. And then on the G-Skill side, 29 for Andrew. 29 for Chuck. 28 for me. 25 for Taylor. 22 for Colin. And 20 for Milo. This game looked like it could go their way. We were down to our last flag a few times. They did get 1 cap out at one point where just like 3 guys went for the flag. 2 of them died. The 3rd guy got it. This was a crazy game. Lots of ridiculous moments along the way, and it's the biggest blowout of the entire series. And again, like I said, we capped with, I mean, I could probably just pull it up. maybe. How late is this cap out? Right there. Okay, we cap with 20 seconds left in that game. So there you go. That was like a garbage time cap to make it a little over a 2 cap game. It was really a 1 cap game when all is said and done. Next map. This is their pick. It's Harrington. Icy Out win by 37 points. Again, less than a cap out. So, we started on Axis, and this gets like even crazier when you break it down further. So, on Axis side, I believe we capped twice in the first like 4 minutes here. Well, let me see when the time left. Okay, that looks like it's after one of the caps. That's 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. Okay, yeah. So we capped twice in the first 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the Axis side. 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and we end up losing this half 226 to 113. So clearly Icy Hot made a big comeback here. Plus 21 kills. I mean, if you were watching this game at that point, you're probably thinking like, wow, okay, I guess G-Skill's just gonna fucking stomp them on Harrington. What the fuck? It just capped out twice in the first 3 minutes. That's crazy. But no, Icy Hot was not about to let that happen. So 37 kills for Jules there, a huge half for him. 31 for William. 27 and 19 for Ben. His demo's up on the YouTube demos thing. 27 for Sean. 24 for both Jared and Mitch. And then on the G-Skill side, 29 for Andrew. 25 for me and Taylor. 24 for Colin and Chuck. 22 for Milo. This was really just like a tale of 2 halves in this half. Not even. It was a tale of 17 minutes and 3 minutes. Where we just were up. I mean, we had 90-something points after 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and we only got 23 more. Icy Out just put the screws to us from there on. They were doing a really good job of flowing through the areas of the map that they gained control on, and then using that to their advantage, just kind of fanning out from mid and mountain, stacking up long when they needed to, making the most of it, and taking a 113-point lead into the second half, where then it ends up being 37 points. So let me see here. 113, 132 to 56 was the score of that half on Allied side, our Allied side, that is. Taylor with 33 kills, 25 for Andrew, 22 for me, 21 for Colin, 18 for Milo, 14 for Chuck, and then on the Icy side, Sean had 35, William had 33, 27 for Ben, 25 for Jared, 24 for Mitch, 19 for Jules. He lagged out at one point, so he had more than that. Probably another, looks like maybe 15 or so. I don't know. Something like that. We have 180 deaths. There's definitely a couple TKs because I naded guys for sure multiple times. But yeah, they came back all the way from down by basically 90 points after the first 2 minutes of this game. And yeah, we just didn't have an answer for it. We tried a few different things throughout the Axis side to try to break back out, but Icy Out had a good execution. They made it count, winning by 37 here to force it to a third map. I continue to be cursed on Harrington in finals. Well, this isn't a final, semifinals, in playoffs. Just one way or another, I'm going to find a way to lose on Harrington. Except, I guess, in the third place game at the LAN. But that's not, like that was a best of one. It doesn't really count in my eyes. Okay. So we go to map 3. And oh boy, was map 3 a heater. It's Anzio. It's in my opinion, to decide who's the better of two teams, you'd go with Anzio. It really tests you as a unit. Is that the first half? Yes. So we started on Allied side, 170 to 121. Okay. So Sean, 31 and 19. Tox, 27 and 19. Ben, 24 and 15. Jules, 23 and 21. Mitch, 22 and 20. William, 19 and 22. And then on the G-Skill side, 22 for Andrew, 21 for Chuck, 19 for me and Colin, 16 for Milo, 14 for Taylor. basically, when we got control, we made it count. That's really the story of this half here. They were kind of up our ass for a while. We were in a situation where we were holding, and I've been in this situation before, and in that game against Clinic, it actually was a situation where we ended up being like, God, we would have been better off just giving up a cap right away. They rack up so many ticks just holding you at your last flag and then end up capping out. It's so much worse than just giving up the 60 points right away. In this case, it didn't end up really being that way. Obviously, we still won the Allied side by about a cap. But they did, there's a reason that it's plus 35 kills there. It's because we were down to our last flag for a while and just trying to find a way to break out of it. Milo was doing a good job sitting at that last flag. I know I had a couple of kills on the last flag on guys flanking. They were just coming forward nonstop, and we were having to try to find a way to get towards Plaza and break out of it. Eventually, we did. Or actually, the half might have just ended. I don't know if I can just, go up to that time. Oh my god, that one life was so fucking annoying. I think this is where Jules and William try to flank. Yeah. There, we got Plaza back, and that's the end of the half. So it looks like we get Plaza back right towards the end of the half. That was where we finally broke out. They almost get the cap here. We have mid. They come for our one. I think William is in jump window. And yeah, Milo was there with me. We were just trying to make sure we don't lose this. Jules is at beach. We have mid, but I don't know how long we're going to have it. If I don't hit that shot, I'm very scared. But we do manage to hold off just long enough. And then I think off of this spawn wave, we are going to get back into Plaza. Oh, that was a fucked up looking shot. Okay, so yeah. We held off just long enough and broke out to get Plaza and stop the cap out. Going into the second half now. So 170, 129 for us and 178 for them. Yeah, that makes sense. So as you can see, it ends up being a tie game. I will show you my POV of how this ended. You're not going to be able to see hardly anything from my POV because I end up in the worst possible place. Just look at the score on the top right, slowly going up, slowly going up. There's a cap out, I think. Yeah, they cap out here. This was a crazy fucking life, though. I was at the end of bridge, and they were just, everywhere. So I think it's got to be right about here, yeah. 30 seconds left. We have bridge and the one. They have street. Nobody has plaza. I'm going to spawn out. I want to make sure that they can't get bridge. Jules gets 2 kills over on the other side. Taylor kills bees and gets street. So that's a point for us to get us 3 points on that tick. They go for plaza. And let's see if we can hear it. Body break that. They do. They get 1 body break out. Milo gets the body break. And then you can hear there's 3 in plaza. And there's the body break right at the end. You can see me looking over at the flags are we going to get it? What? I have nothing I can do right now. They get the body break. Plaza goes off right there. Almost. And it gets literally just enough time stalled plus getting street back when we did. That gets us that other 3 points there. And it ends up a tie game. A tie game on Anzio. So, Toxinator at 29, Sean 28, Mitch 23, 19 for Jules and Ben, 16 for William, and then Andrew 31. I had 23, 20 for Milo, doing seriously such a tough job just trying to keep them off plaza as much as humanly possible. It is very difficult to do when everybody knows where you roughly have to be most of the time. 18 for Taylor, 16 for Colin, 11 for Chuck. Tie game. We go to overtime. The really unfortunate thing here, though, is the overtime configs are not, I guess, at this point set up on this new server cluster. So we end up having to go to a legacy server, which means there is no demo of HLTV form, at least for overtime. I'm gonna cast this series at some point, but it's just gonna end at the game being tied in the third map. There is no HLTV. But first half, so we talked about it because it took a while for us to figure out. First, we figured that we could do the overtime stuff, but then we realized it just wasn't going to work. So we had about 15, 20 minutes in between where we were able to kind of talk about what is it that we want to do. It's 5-minute overtime, which I do think sucks. It definitely used to be 10 minutes. I've played a shocking number of overtimes in my DoD career. Again, mostly on like Donner, Solitude. I played a double overtime on Solitude. It was 10 minutes once upon a time. I do think in the regular season it being 5 minutes is fine, but in the playoffs, I do agree that 10 minutes makes more sense because, 5 minutes is nothing in DoD. But we were able to take advantage of that. We understood with 5 minutes, this is what we got to do. Let's go out and execute this exact game plan, and we did, thankfully here, 74-21. We got a full cap on the Allied side. The thought process was we need to try to take advantage of the areas that the Allies should take advantage of and then play for control outside of those areas, not let them get pushed up to our side of the map through the gap. Exactly even on the kills and deaths there. We win by 53 in that half. Taylor had 7, Milo and Chuck had 6, Andrew and Colin with 3, I had 2, William had 7, Tox had 6, Jules with 5, Ben with 4, Mitch with 3, Sean with 2. You can just kind of see like the way the strategy worked out here. Like the Plaza guys for us have the most kills and then the most deaths on the Plaza side for the Icy Hot guys. Like it was we need to make sure we deal with Plaza here. And so we had that 50-something point lead going into the Axis side. Same kind of thing. It was like, this is what we need to do. Let's go out and execute it. And yeah, 73-10. Pull it out in the end. Wait a second. 43. Oh, okay, never mind. It's just one TK or suicide there. So Colin with 10. Me and Andrew had 8. Milo with 7. Taylor and Chuck with 5. And then on the Icy Hot side, 7 for Mitch and Sean. 6 for Jules. 3 for Jared, 2 for Ben, 1 for William, and a crazy one-of-a-kind in DoD history. Best of 3 goes the way of G-Skill, 2-1. The total score differential, if you remove the 5-minute overtime out of it, like, again, so I'm doing a lot of if this. Okay, so really this game was a 41-point game, 37, so that's a +4 for G-Skill total, and then a tie game. It's crazy. Like, just a crazy best of 3. We never got this in the T3 Thunder stages. G-Skill Thunder, we have had 3-game series in TPG, but last season it was 2-0, although those 2 games were also very, very close. Hold on, let me tell you exactly how close they were. Where is Season 8? Playoffs. Finals. So Harrington, 104-point deficit. And 69. So that's a 35-point loss we had at Harrington. And on Anzio, we win by 20. We lose by 64. So that'd be 44. So yeah, again, like, basically within a cap total. When it comes to a 3-game series, man, you're not going to see closer than this. Good game to Icy Hot. That was crazy. I literally have had my sleep schedule obliterated by the adrenaline and length of that series alone. Like, I still am not sleeping properly at this point. Man, just crazy series. That gets us into the finals. We play against Over. We banned Anzio. Obviously, you want to ban against Over, like Anzio or Harrington or Lennon. We went with Anzio there. They banned Railyard. That's their one loss of the season, which was to us, obviously. So that makes sense. We picked Armory. We felt good on Armory, obviously. It was our pick in the semis, and we won it. They pick Harrington. It was a matter of if they were going to pick Harrington or Lennon. I think Harrington probably makes more sense. We just lost on Harrington to Icy Hot. And then they banned Lennon. That one, I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. When it came down to Lennon, Saints, and Thunder, I wasn't sure what they might ban. I actually wouldn't have guessed that they would ban Lennon. I would have thought that they would ban Saints, maybe, or Thunder. But they played really, really well on Thunder, obviously, in the semifinals, so maybe not. Basically, the last 3 maps were just a kind of a crapshoot in the end. Saints and Thunder are similar-ish. You know, there's a big central double cap. Lots of long-range fighting. Lennon, I guess, is a lot more, like, heavy reliant and stuff, and things are split up. With Over, they play so good as a pack. They have that pack play down where, like, all their guys are in a similar area and hitting their shots and just making life a living hell. So, yeah. Third map is going to be Thunder. That's not good news for me. I do not like this map, but Armory, Harrington, Thunder, good luck, have fun to Over. There's obviously, I never have much to say when it is my own team's match. It's great to see Over in a final for the first time in KTP. I called it ahead of the season when I heard that Chi was going back and they were picking up No Name. To me, that immediately solved the problems that Over has had in other seasons where they looked really fucking good, but they were just never able to quite get over the hump. To me, those picks were the best possible choices that they could make to solve those problems, and here we are. They have 1 map lost all season. That's maybe their only close game, even. Don't quote me on that, but blowout, loss, blowout. 60 points on Anju against Diceyot. That was close enough. And then 65, that's right, the Saints game against Dice. I forgot about that one. That was also a pretty close game, but outside of that, really not much close. I expect it will be another really, really good series. I hope. Thing is, Over just look like world beaters right now, man. I have now played in 8 out of the 9 gold finals in KTP. Although, to be fair, what I'm going to say next is kind of not as relevant because the one other season where I think I could have felt this way was the NSA season, and that's the one season that I didn't get to play in the finals. But when it comes to, like, a team just feeling unstoppable, it's either them or NSA. Even though they've lost the map, I would have loved to have seen a G-Skill versus Over matchup on a different map in that week. But yeah, I mean, this Over team just feels, man, tough. What are you supposed to do against that? Just go watch any of their fucking games that got casted. Like, they are just coming at you, and they ain't missing, and they ain't making mistakes. You ain't killing them. It's very interesting because I would say in most other seasons when you have the undefeated 1 seed going up against anybody, you would think they're the clear favorites here, but I actually don't know that is the perception right now. I think everybody kind of feels like Over is the team to beat, regardless of everything else. And they wouldn't be wrong, man. They do look unstoppable. And it's going to be on us to try to find a way to stop them. And I love that. I would prefer this. You know, I know that not everybody feels that way when it comes to playing competitive DoD, but for me, it's more fun. I would rather not be a team that's just like, well, they clearly are going to go win it all. Clearly, they're going to sweep every team, and they're going to go undefeated, and it's never going to be close. It's way more fun to me, this, back against the wall, not looking super likely that you're going to win, and then trying to find a way to do it. That's what it's all about, is finding out what you're made of, digging deep, overcoming shit, and then coming out on top. That's way more fun to me than just it being a foregone conclusion ahead of time. So I'm very, very excited for these finals. I'm also very, very nervous because this team does not look like a team that you're going to have an easy time matching up with under any circumstances. So, you know, the one upside is that obviously me, the G-Skill guys, we've all been here many, many times before. For Over, it's their first final in KTP. So we have that going for us. But when it came down to the map veto as well, it's like, what? Is there a map that anybody wants to play Over on? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure, and I've said this a few times, I'm pretty sure for the veto, you could have just told Over, you don't get any bans. Like, we're going to pick the maps, and there's no 3-game series where Over wouldn't have felt 100% fine. They have no maps that they're not good on. Rail Yard was the one map where it was like, okay, they lost a game on it, but it was Rail Yard. It was the first week it was played. Nobody really had much of an idea of what to do on it. So I don't know. It's just it's a very, very interesting dynamic heading into the gold finals here. I don't know if we've had a dynamic like this before. Looking back at all the seasons, usually there's a team that's like a clear favorite, and it's the team that was favorited the whole way through. I guess the T3 Thunder final seasons, there was always a 50-50. Maybe the Bandits Thunder season 5. Bandits Thunder season 5, where Bandits was the 1 seed and Thunder had gone like 4-4 in the regular season, but it was still like it was Thunder, so people knew that odds were we were going to at least give them a good game. This is a very unique one, so I'm looking forward to seeing how everything plays out on Sunday. It should be a crazy series no matter what happens. Like, whatever the outcome is. If G-Skill wins 2-0, that's crazy. If Over wins 2-0, that's crazy. If we get all 3 games, whoever wins, that's crazy. There's like no way that this series ends up being just like a snooze fest in any way, because any outcome means something crazy is going down. So that alone kind of makes it even more interesting. That game is at 3 p.m. I don't know who's casting it. There's been talk about multiple different setups for the cast. Somebody will cast it for sure. Whether it's the Dice guys, the Clinic guys, the Dice and Clinic guys, Bullet, Modgers, etc. 9. We've got a lot of other guys that can do it, obviously. And then I'll get to cast the Bronze game, I think, live. Does it say what time that's at? 8 Eastern. So yeah, I'll get to do that. This game, the Silver game, I won't get to do. I'm sorry, but I'm not, before a best-of-3 final, going to spend the last hour before the game going crazy in a cast. So that one I'll do completely through demos, and then this one I'll do live at 8 o'clock. So that does it. Now I'm about to find out if this even, it says stop recording. That's at least a good sign, but I don't know why it's frozen at 1 hour and 55. That's fucking weird. I don't like that. Good luck, have fun, everybody, this week.